Good afternoon. I am actually on the North Carolina State campus, North Campus actually, although to me it seems to be contiguous with the Central Campus. But you know what? That's none of my business. I'm a guest here. I actually teach at another institution in Raleigh at the time of the shooting of this video. But at any rate, I teach quite a few classes: World Civ, African American history, American history. I've taught military history. I've taught European history, you name it. But at any rate, and so I just figured I would kind of share some of the things that I've gone through with the class. And one thing I've gone through with the class is Marcus Aurelius, a little bit. I probably don't talk about him as much as I could, and understand that I only have so much time to talk about these Roman emperors. Remember, I am charged with facilitating a class that is supposed to go from what? From basically the Paleolithic era to the Renaissance. So how far can I get, right? But anyway, right now I'm doing this during the summer, and it's kind of great to kind of, go through some of these readings now and reflect, if you will, upon them. As we talk about Marcus Aurelius is, if you will, a Roman emperor of the, I guess late second century in the Common Era. From basically about 161 to 180 is when he reigns. If my memory serves me correct, he does not hit 60. If my memory serves me correct, I believe he was born 121 in the Common Era. Now, also, Marcus Aurelius is grouped with 5 emperors. Matter of fact, he's the 5th of what is known, if you will, as the good emperors. I suppose emperors who were competent, weren't as cruel as the others. Admittedly, they could be kind of cruel, and we'll certainly be talking about that here in a second. Marcus Aurelius. Now, this is quite possible with quite a few emperors, but Marcus Aurelius, obviously being a Roman emperor, knew Latin. Obviously probably spoke it, but also knew Greek. A version of Greek that if we were to Romanize it, Koine. I'm not sure if that's Koine or Kane Greek. And he actually wrote the meditations, if you will, in this version of Greek instead of Latin. Meditations, if you will, that we're about to read, or a little bit, just very little, is very much a Stoic piece. And I guess he thought that since, when we talk about Stoicism, and people such as Zeno, I guess you got to bring it back to the Greek. So that's kind of what we are looking at. Now, it's also been known kind of as Biblical Greek, which is kind of early, so I'm not sure. And I'm not sure how Marcus Aurelius would be, how he would feel about that either. Because here's another thing you need to know about Marcus Aurelius. Marcus Aurelius isn't perfect. Some of this stuff is very good, very insightful. But understand that, the men and women behind these pieces of literature have flaws, don't they? Marcus Aurelius himself, as far as we know, persecuted Christians. Obviously, probably the most famous emperor when it comes to the persecution of Christians, I would imagine, would probably be Nero. But certainly Marcus Aurelius did so as well. Which is interesting. At the time of this recording, I myself, you know, practice, a Judeo-Christian faith. So, you know, but I think you can get things from anywhere. All right. Well, anyway, I've gone on long enough. So let's talk about Marcus Aurelius, if you will, meditations. I'm probably going to be able to get through one good passage and let you decide for yourself. I'm probably not going to do much commentary. Okay. Begin the morning by saying to thyself, I shall meet with the busybody, the ungrateful, arrogant, deceitful, envious, unsocial. All these things happen to them by reason of their ignorance of what is good and evil. But I, who have seen the nature of the good that is beautiful, and of the bad that is ugly, and the nature of him who does wrong, that it is akin to me, not only of the same blood or seed, but that it participates in the same intelligence and the same portion of divinity. I can neither be injured by any of them, for no one can fix on me what is ugly, nor can I be angry with my kinsman, nor hate him. Like hands, like eyelids, like the rows of the upper and lower teeth. To act against one another, then, is contrary to nature, and it is acting against one another to be vexed and to turn away. This is book 2, by the way. Here's the second passage from book 2. Whatever this is that I am, it is a little flesh and breath, and the ruling part. Throw away thy books. No longer distract thyself. It is not allowed. But if thou wast now dying, despise the flesh. It is blood and bones and a network and a contexture of nerves, veins, and arteries. See the breath also. What kind of a thing is it? Air, and not always the same, but every moment sent out and again sucked in. The third then is the ruling part. Consider thus: thou art an old man. No longer let this be a slave. No longer be pulled by the strings like a puppet to unsocial movements. No longer be either dissatisfied with thy present lot or shrink from the future. Passage 3 from Book 2 of the Meditations. All that is from the gods is full of providence. That which is from fortune is not separated from the nature, or without an interweaving or involution with the things which are ordered by providence, from whence all things flow. And there is besides necessity, and that which is for the advantage of the whole universe, of which thou art a part. But that is good for every part of nature, which the nature of the whole brings, and what serves to maintain this nature. Now the universe is perverse, as by the change of the elements, and so by the changes of things compounded of the elements. Let these principles be enough for thee. Let them always be fixed opinions. But cast away the thirst after books, that thou mayest not die murmuring, but cheerfully, truly, and from thy heart thankful to the gods. Remember how long thou hast been putting off these things, how often thou hast received an opportunity from the gods, and yet dost not use it. Thou must now at last perceive of what universe thou art a part, and of what administrator of the universe thou existence is an efflux, and that a limit of time is fixed for thee, which if thou not use for clearing away the clouds from thy mind, it will go, and thou will go, and it will never return. Book 2, Meditations, passages 1 through 4. The idea of clearing your mind of things, opening your mind clear for, if you will, meditation, and looking, if you will, I don't know, beyond the corporeal, right? Beyond, if you will, the body. And also, sometimes just looking away from text, and going, within yourself, because not all knowledge is in books. Not all wisdom is in books. And meditation is from within. Anyway, I can imagine there being a number of interpretations of this, and I really want to keep my interpretations to a minimum, as there are probably quite a few scholars who have, probably approached meditations. Anyway, I may or may not, read a little bit more of this to you all, if there's anyone indeed listening. Anyway, take care and appreciate it. Goodbye.